Hi, everybody. Welcome to this intro video on the season 2 of the Innerspace Project podcast. I'm Dr. Patti Ashley. I'm your host, and I am getting ready to kick off a whole nother year of amazing interviews. Those of you who've been following the podcast know that we divided into segments: beginnings, middles, endings, and liminal space. And the beginnings are the first 18 years of life, focusing a lot on parenting and childbirth and early childhood years. And then the middles being careers, relationships, all things about life in the middle. And then endings is grief and transition and loss. And then liminal space is the places in between, those places where we are oftentimes in our lives where we're in uncertainty or we don't know, or even our dream space and our connection to our spiritual self and the parts that don't seem to fit sometimes into our everyday logical mind. So I've had a lot of fun doing the podcast. I have been doing it on my own with very minimal help from interns and friends. And so I'm only going to do one episode a month coming up. I'm going to shoot for the third Tuesday of the month. And so keep your eye out. We're going to start this week with the beginnings episode with Robin Koslowski, who's just written a book on post-traumatic parenting. And she's PhD who has spent her life working with parents and children and trauma. And so we have a really good conversation about all of that. And then I've got Catherine Holt coming up in October, and she's written a workbook on helping people overcome disordered eating. And so that'll be a really good conversation. You're not going to want to miss that one. November, I'm going to focus on endings and grief. And it just happens to be the 9th anniversary of losing my beloved partner, Lawrence Freedom. And I may just talk about my book, Letters to Freedom, that I wrote about grief after he died. And I'm not sure yet if I'm going to have a guest, but definitely will be a lot of heartfelt information around grief and loss and love. And then in December, I've got my friend Kelly Sullivan Walden talking about her Dreamifesting new book that just came out. And you won't want to miss that. That's a great liminal space episode. And then in January, I'm going to have my friend Amber Chamberlain talk about parenting, and particularly the postpartum years. She works a lot with moms going through having babies and experiencing what it means to be a mom. And she is in Northern Virginia. And then February, March, and April to be determined. I've got some people in mind, but anyway, please like, subscribe, share. Again, I'm doing this all on my own. I'm hoping to create by season 3 some opportunities for sponsorship. So if you know anybody that might want to contribute to what it takes to run these, editors and marketers and things like that, when I have, a pretty full life as a psychotherapist and trainer and author. So there's a lot of things that happen on the back end with this podcast. So I'm actually doing this one unedited just to get it out for you before the next episode. So if there's any ums and ohs and glitches and weirdness in it, it's because it's the unedited version of me. So I hope you'll tune in. If you haven't seen season 1 yet, check it out. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this coming year and the season 2 and continuing to grow this podcast, which again, those of you who know it's near and dear to my heart, because I feel like we, haven't really explored inner space enough to really understand what this being human connection is all about, especially in the age of AI. I have been listening to Greg Braden's new book on, I think it's called Being Human or Something Human. And he's talking about the science behind how AI will actually genetically change our DNA. The more we're relying and focused on artificial intelligence, we lose this capacity of our human experience. Oh, so it's touching me very deeply and also motivating me even more to continue on with this work here, because I feel like this is we're at a pivotal point in our lifespan, so our lifetime, where we really have to connect with all the parts of us even the ones that may seem dark and mysterious, because that's where the growth happens, when we really look at our shadow material and we look at what's going on inside of us, and we look at all the parts of being human and walking this earth school path. That's how we all grow, and hopefully grow in the direction of more connection, more compassion, and more love. So I hope you'll join me again. Share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. And, if you know anybody that might want to be a sponsor, let me know. And, we'll keep plugging along. All right. Take care.